What's up? Hey, everyone. Welcome to Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. It's Friday. We made it through another week. I say this every week. We made it. I hope all of you had a great week. And this is Uku. She says hello. And for all you new subscribers and people don't know that Fridays I do my Q&A. And if you want to be featured or have one of your questions featured on my Q&A, all you got to do is ask your question in the comments below and it'll be featured. Pretty simple. This happens every Friday. So having said that, I do have a lot of questions this week, and today I am wearing my Zenith Pilot El Primero. Let's roll the intro and we'll talk about, or we'll get into the Q&A. All right.
Talking timepieces with Tony. Talking timepieces with Tony.
All right. Got a lot of questions today. But I always get a lot of questions, and I like that. That's really good because you guys are engaging, and I like answering your questions. Regardless of whatever the topic is. It doesn't always have to be about watches. You know. This one comes from Casa 1000. Here's something I've been pondering over. I bought my Grail back in 2021, an Explorer 124270. Whilst I have a decent collection, this piece sits front and center, and this watch was with me when my daughter was born in 2023. Needless to say, it's not going anywhere, and I'd like this to be hers one day, 18th or 21st birthday present perhaps. What do you think about engraving casebacks? Simple initials and date or a short message. Will I regret it? I mean, it's cool that you're going to give her the watch, you know, in 20 years from now or 18 years from now, or where she was in 23 last year. She's a baby, dude. You know, you got a long way to go before you get rid of that thing. No, absolutely nothing wrong with it. You're keeping the watch. It's like, the only thing is if you were planning on selling it or you didn't know and you were going to hang on to it and then you engraved it and then you wanted to sell it, then it would lose value. Simple as that. But essentially what you're doing is you're going to give it to your daughter, which is awesome. So no reason to not engrave it, I guess. So just, yeah, do it. No big deal. Thanks for your question, Casa 1000. This comes from Yo LG4HV. Word up, Yo. My name's Tony. Hey, Tony, for your next Friday Q&A, I've loved watches since I was a young kid, now 38, and finally able to afford the grown-up watches. My AD thinks I'll get a Sprite soon. I mentioned it on an earlier video. My question to you, if I get a Sprite, it'll be my first Rolex. From an AD? Damn, dude. Nice. And I'm beyond excited if it happens. I would be too, especially my first Rolex from an AD being a GMT Master 2. I'd love to get it I'd love to get it directly from an AD, but if it gets discontinued, let's say first thing next year, should I wait it out with my AD to see if he gets a late installment, or immediately hop on the gray and pick one up before the prices potentially go up or down? Who knows? I'm a lefty and I've wanted a Rolex for many years, and now I can comfortably buy one, but getting a lefty watch is so special to me. Before I make any other big watch purchases, I want to grow a collection, but getting this Sprite feels like the best way to start my Rolex journey. Starting pretty high up there. I'm just not sure what to do if I get the call, if he doesn't have a Sprite. But maybe a root beer, which I would buy. But I really want that Sprite. Not sure if that's my time to make a gray, I know a gray market purchase for a Sprite, and then make my first AD purchase. Sorry that's long, but just want, okay, so I mean, yeah, if you can get a Sprite for your first Rolex, that's cool, and that's where you want to start your Rolex journey. I don't ever recommend starting a journey that way with watches, but hey, man, to each their own. So hopefully you'll get it. You were asking me If it gets discontinued, should you wait to see if any stock comes in afterwards and you get the call? That just puts it even further away from your goal there, man. And then if you're going to jump on the gray market, you can do that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't keep waiting especially if it got discontinued. I wouldn't keep waiting. You know, who knows, man? And it's like, do what you feel. You know, what does your heart tell you? You know, I don't know what your relationship is with the AD. If they seem pretty confident that they're going to get you a Sprite, especially as your first Rolex, you must have made a really good impression on them, because that doesn't usually happen. I've seen it with the second purchase, but not the first. And that was my buddy Lewis, who bought an Explorer, and then he got the Batman. But yeah, I don't know. You can go on gray market. Be careful with who you buy from, though. You know, but yeah, I wouldn't wait though if it gets discontinued. I think that was all you were asking me, but thanks for your question, man. Oh shit, that's two of them. This one comes from Razvan Smarandanau 3818. Dude, I don't make the names up. I only just try to pronounce them and I butcher them, so sorry. Sorry if I messed up your name, dude. Can I just call you Raz? Tony, looks like you were a true fan of the Zenith Pilot. Yes, I am. And you are actually wearing it. How did you know, man? This question you asked me last week. Yes, I am wearing it. Been meaning to ask you, how is the lume on this watch? How would you rate it, compare it to other known brands? Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Lume's all right. It depends how you're using your lume. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know what lume's really for. Just, I get to see it in the dark, and it looks really bright and pretty. And that's not really the sole purpose of it, you know? I use lume only for, you know, I have a specific watch, and that's my Timex that I use, that I sleep in, and I if I wake up in the middle of the night, well, I'll lume it up before I go to bed with a flashlight. Then I go to bed, wake up at 3 in the morning, check the time, and I can make out what time it is, you know, so it's faded a lot, you know what I mean? And that's the purpose of lume. So if you're going to use lume for an all-night watch, I do not recommend the lume on Zenith. If you're going to sleep in this watch, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and that's your only source of referencing time at 2 or 3 in the morning when it's dark, then no, I don't recommend it. It's good for, you know, if you're in a dark area and it's loomed up and it works fine. But if not, you know, I recommend Rolex lume's good. Tudor lume is freaking great. Yeah, so, but don't let that stop. I wouldn't let that stop me from buying the watch. Obviously, I have the watch, but you know, it's all good. You know, it works. It just doesn't work it doesn't go all the way through the night. You know, it kind of fades out to where I wake up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and I try to see what time it is, and it's just, you know. But I only tried it that one time. I slept in it once just to test it, you know. So maybe I should try it again, and I can answer that better. This comes from, but thanks for your question, Raz. I appreciate it. Thank you. This one comes from Metagirl. What are some things that make a guitar player one of the greats? For example, Steve Vai versus another guitar player. What makes Steve Vai better or the other player better? Okay. I could answer this various different ways. Here's the thing. For one, you have to have natural talent. Simple as that, you know. Practice and practice and practice. I would say get an education in music theory, but that doesn't always hold weight, because Eddie Van Halen didn't know music theory from his, you know, whatever. He can't read music, doesn't know chord charts, whatever. That wasn't his jam. But look he was the greatest of all time, really, right? So it's not just necessarily that. That is important, and it helps you. I mean, I got a degree in music, although I was already an established guitar player when I went into music school. So when I came out of music school, I wasn't a better actual player. I was more knowledgeable about theory, music, reading, and again, that allowed me to become a studio musician and work with various different artists with a whole spectrum of genres, you know. So in a case like, say, Steve Vai versus someone else, you know, for one, you have not only you've got to have some talent, the consistency in practicing to where you get good, to where people that are actually guitar players and musicians, and whether it's a producer or just a musician, go, yeah, that's a really good guitar player, right? I'm not talking about your average sort of fan, because some just average type fans kind of will go, yeah, well, Kurt Cobain was one of the greatest guitar players when he was a terrible guitar player. He was a great songwriter. But I would still rather listen to Nirvana than a Steve Vai record, if that makes sense, because even though Steve Vai is, Steve Vai, for one, 18 years old, and he gets a job transcribing for Frank Zappa, that's unfreaking believable what he can transcribe and what he knows theory-wise. Plus, he's an amazing player, and he has his own style. If someone copies his style, you go, oh, that dude sounds like Steve Vai. Just like if someone taps and does their thing, they go, oh, that guy sounds like Eddie Van Halen. So to make someone better or stand out or more unique, the thing is not to copy one player. There was too many people that came out in the 80s that copied, say, Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads, and just did that to the point to where they sounded just like him. Now you're not original. Yeah, you're good, you can do that stuff, but it's not impressive because, so what? Everyone can do that. So it's taking bits and pieces from different guitar players, right? So like for me, I took a lot from, say, Jimmy Page, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jeff Beck, Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai before Steve Vai was really well known, Frank Zappa, and basically I just put all of that into what I did, and I'm not saying I'm the greatest player, but that's what made me stand out and was able to get me a lot of work throughout the years. So essentially, there's a lot of great guitar players that have, it's so hard, because if you take, say, someone like Nuno Bettencourt from Extreme, the band Extreme, he's a phenomenal guitar player. The band Extreme isn't that great. Well, I mean, yes, they are. Sorry, in a different way. All right, I do love Extreme, but Nuno Bettencourt is an amazing guitar player. But he's so much different than, say, someone like Steve Vai. Or you get a guy like Richie Kotzen, who's just phenomenal, or Greg Howe. And some of these guys that you don't know about, Jason Becker, they all had their thing that just left a mark, and it was just, so you definitely have to have the ability, you definitely have to have the chops, and just because you're a phenomenal guitar player doesn't mean you're a great songwriter. Like, I'll go back to Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was a really good songwriter, you know what I mean? But then you take someone who's, another whatever great guitar player that is not a good songwriter but is a great player, you know what I mean? So sometimes you could take a great guitar player, put him in an awesome band, and it's magic, and then you take that guitar player, put him in another band, and it's like, you know what I mean? So anyway, there's a lot to it, man, but it's a lot. For one of it, it's a lot of practice. I used to practice 8 to 10 hours every single day. Then I toned it down to about 4 hours a day. And when I was in music school, I was living on the streets. I mean, I was living in the backseat of a Pontiac. So, good times, man. Anyway, so thanks for your question, Metagirl. I could go on and give you a better explanation, but there's a lot to that kind of thing, Strawn Robertson 29. Another good video, Tony. Thank you. The 36mm date just again reminded me of my visit to the local AD last week. I was looking to start the ball rolling on trying to get the modern version of that date just that you have. Exactly the same, but with a standard dial and fluted bezel. Yeah, so you're talking about the blue Sunray blue dial with the baton markers, as opposed to Roman numerals. It has to be, because they don't make the blue dial with the Roman numerals anymore at 36. I don't believe they do. The sales rep blindsided me a bit by suggesting that as I am 41 years old, the TT version, which would be the two-tone, may be more up my street and meet my future needs for a dress watch longer than a steel version. Okay. I kind of left the place thinking that she might be right, but part of me is thinking, is that a lot of bling for a non-loud person? What do you reckon? Strawn Robertson, I believe you should get what you want, I'm not saying that she's trying to sway you one way. The Rolexes sell regardless. It might be easier for her to get the two-tone, but if you don't like it, man, stick with what you want, man, because if you don't get what you want specifically, you're going to regret it. You're going to go, you might be right now with the two-tone, oh yeah, I really like it, and then after wearing it and getting it home, you might be just like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. So it's up to you. Yeah, I don't think she was trying to do you any harm. I think honestly, I just think she might have been able to, she might have had one in stock, you know what I mean? And I don't know. Get what you want. Thanks for your question, dude. This comes from, now I used to go GIF when he used to comment previously. This is JJJFFFPPP, and I know it was something to do with your name and all that stuff, so good to hear from you again. That Pasha fits your wrist just fine. Thank you. Pasha's awesome. Can you play guitar while wearing a watch? I play drums, and I can't play while wearing anything. I can't risk sacrificing my wrist mobility. Should it slide past the bone? I completely agree, understand. No, I do not wear a watch when I play. The only time I can wear a watch when I play, and it wouldn't be a Rolex, because I've said this before, and someone said, well, you're scared of scratching the Rolex, I guess. I mean, scratching the guitar, and I was like, no, I don't care about the guitar. I get all my guitars for free, man. I don't, But no, if I'm playing acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, then I can wear a watch. That's because it doesn't take a whole lot for me to do I'm not doing anything intricate while I'm playing. If I have something where I have to do, if it's electric guitar, I don't play electric guitar anymore anyway, but if I'm playing, Spanish guitar or ukulele where I'm doing some shreddy type stuff, then no, I can't wear a watch. I'm the same way. It's too restricting on my wrist and it's too annoying. Singing, playing guitar doesn't bother me because all I'm doing is the same. That feels good. Anyway, man. So thanks for your question, dude, and appreciate it. David Parrish Productions 5082. Rant away, my friend. Oh, that was from last week. We count on you to keep it real and steer us in the right direction. Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hey, if you could buy 5 watches today to wear, not to store or invest or protect in a safe, just wear, what would they be? The watch world appreciates you, Tony. And I appreciate you, man. Because the watches I buy, I wear, and the ones that I don't wear is just because I don't wear them anymore. It's not for any, keeping it safe or increasing in value. It's got nothing to do with that whatsoever. I literally wear the pieces that's why I have a rotation box. I don't pull something out of my rotation box and go, I better put my GMT in a safe now or put it in the bank because it needs to stay in pristine condition. I wear them, you know what I mean? And if I don't, it's just because I don't, it's nothing. And if I could buy if I bought 5 additional watches, and it depends also about the budget, man. How much money are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Because I'd like to get another Datejust, a modern Datejust. I really want to get another Datejust. So I would get another Datejust 36, maybe with the motif green dial, or the Wimbledon I've always wanted, Jubilee bracelet and of course fluted bezel, or smooth bezel and Jubilee bracelet. I'd love to have a Breguet Classique. I'd love to have a Vacheron Constantin. I would take the 56 actually. That's actually probably their cheapest watch. It's like 12 or 13 grand brand new for the stainless steel version, and I'd wear that. And there's other Zenith watches I want as well. Almost looking at a Tag Heuer. They got some new models that are pretty nice, but I can't give you the references on them because I've never been a huge fan. You know what I mean? So it's a hard one, dude. Because I already have watches that I just wear, and I didn't really have time to sit down and write a list of the 5 that I would purchase. But again, it's because sometimes I'll also buy a watch and then all of a sudden I just don't wear it. And if I just don't wear it because I don't get along with it or I don't bond with it, then I'll sell it. So thanks for your question, man. Appreciate it, as always. This comes from Scott Gould, 7140. Hi, Tony. Always look forward to your weekly Q&As. Thanks, brother. As you come across a genuine dude who just enjoys watches. Yep. And you don't act like your opinions are facts. Yes, I do. Thanks, dude. You realize that opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, yeah. I've started a decent collection, mostly Rolex, but want to add something a tad dressier, but can also be worn casual. Would you recommend a Breguet Classique or a JLC Reverso dual face, and why? Also, what are your thoughts on the Breguet Marine dual time versus the Breguet big time? Well, as far as the Breguet Classic or the JLC, I would go with the Breguet Classique. It's just freaking awesome. That line is awesome. It's very classic, and it's very classy, and it's very elegant. And I think if you're used to wearing round watches and all of a sudden you start wearing a JLC, you might start not wear the JLC that much. You'll find that, especially with I don't know, the JLC Reverso is cool. I wouldn't buy one, but at the same time, I think, again, the Breguet is your better bet. You know what I mean? It's just overall, just across the board. And I'm not saying that with all JLCs. I'm just saying it with the Reverso. What are my thoughts on the Marine Dual Time versus the Breguet Big Time? The Marine Dual Time is cool, and the Big Time I am not familiar with. I'd have to look at that and then get back to you on that. And unfortunately, I just didn't have time this week to really look into it. So I apologize for that. But thanks for your question, man. This comes from Gordon Harwell, 2472. For me, I'm starting to like smaller watches and look at lug to lug on bigger, over 40 millimeter watches. Question: what is off limits as far as a comments for YouTube and yourself for the channel? Thank you. Comments? You can comment whatever you want, man. Ask whatever the hell you want. I don't care. If it's something that's not cool, or I'm gonna respond how I'm gonna respond. Whatever. I mean, if it's I don't know what the point of that is. If you're gonna come at me like negatively, then I'll come back at you negatively. If you have a question that I feel is legit and worthy of an answer, it's all good. I don't think you would go that route though, the negative route, but some people do, and I've had viewers that have been commenting for a couple of years, and all of a sudden they just turn on you and they become a complete freaking asshole, and you're just like, dude, whatever happened to you, you've now become a troll. But you can always sense that they're on the border edge of being a troll anyway, so you've never come across that way, dude. Thank you. This comes from Byergo, Byergo. Tony, I appreciate your guitar playing and songwriting talents. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that you appreciate that. You have alluded to touring with rock bands around the world. Would you care to share any big name bands you have toured with? And if there are any videos of you playing live on YouTube for my viewing enjoyment. Thanks for the great watch content. Hey man, thank you. Thank you for liking my guitar playing and songwriting. As far as bands that I've toured with, I generally don't talk about that aspect. I will talk about when I toured whether it's a solo artist or whatever. But as a session guy, anytime I've ever done anything with other artists, I have worked with major artists, big artists, like legendary, even if you will, but I haven't toured with them. I did like a record or a song on their record, or play guitar on their record or whatever. Worked with them, or I've done maybe one show with somebody. There's probably stuff out there. I don't know, and I don't care to know. I don't want to watch it. I can't stand seeing myself play. But I mean, and I've also done a video previously on my music career, so and not disrespectful, but I just don't like some of the bands I'd worked with in the past. Also, I'm not a big fan of, or I didn't get along with someone in the band because of egos. I can't stand people that have egos. That's why I always hung out with Road Crew, because they were way cooler. And so yeah, so I appreciate it though, man. And I'm sorry I couldn't be more specific with you on that. It's like just the way it is. Scratchy 112. Hey Tony, love the show. What do you think of Tudor Pelagos 42 millimeter full titanium on the bracelet, black dial? I accept the Rolex Submariner is a great watch, but is it worth more than double the cost? Or is double the cost better? Take care. Thanks, man. Yeah, Pelagos 42 is cool. Titanium on the bracelet, sure. Tudor make great watches. Is Rolex Submariner worth twice the money and a better watch? I think so, yeah. I think there's a little bit more quality control issues with Tudor than there is with Rolex. However, it doesn't happen that you might get a Rolex that has something wrong with it. But I will always take Rolex over Tudor any day. And Tudor's a great brand though, but thanks for your question, man. Gino816, have you seen the Yachtmaster Titanium in person? If so, what are your thoughts? It's 42 millimeter, which may be too big for you. Yeah. I want it to replace my Pelagos. Are you guys related? I have not seen it in person. And yeah, I don't know. It's sought after, man. You want it to replace your Pelagos, and if you're going to do that, you're going to have to get it at the gray market. You'll never get that watch at the AD, and I'd be surprised if you did anyway. I would say good luck. Dude, I wouldn't even, yeah, I don't even know. That watch is harder to get than a Daytona, I think. But having said that, the best of luck on that. And I just want to thank everyone for liking, subscribing, watching my channel. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you on the next one.